being diagnosed of cancer. Not any of the cancers, but breast.
Rarely are they the center of focus, perhaps due to the reason that women are more susceptible to suffering cancers in the breast than men. Though breast cancer is referred to as the leading cause of cancer deaths, most men are ignorant about the possibility of its existence in their breast. According to the World Health Organization, there were over 2 million breast cancer cases globally, with over 600,000 deaths in 2018. Reports further indicate that less than 1% of men are diagnosed with breast cancer, and Nana happens to be among that 1%. Nana identified a lump in his breast in the year 2016.
Initially, when I went to Kolebu, I was diagnosed of a lump in my left breast. It wasn't cancerous. But later, after 2017, after the surgery, the first surgery, I saw that the thing was growing bigger and bigger. So I went back to the Kolebu. Before I was diagnosed, the same place, I was diagnosed of cancer.
So at first it was a lump?
It was a lump.
Were you feeling any pain?
Initially, it wasn't painful. It was something small, some small noodle. That's what they call it. A small noodle in my breast.
Going through a series of tests, he had hoped for a favorable report, but the diagnosis came as a shock to him.
You know, sometimes the disease will not kill you, but the way they will tell you, you have this, it can even kill you before the disease kills you. See, Abrante, what do you know? You check it, you say cancer. That's what he asked me. I sat there more than 3 minutes. I couldn't talk. I couldn't speak. I was just looking at the man. So that was the first time that I was told I have this. It wasn't easy. When I was coming from, or that day I was driving. I needed somebody to drive me from Okolebu to my place. It's not easy. A man being diagnosed of cancer, not any of the cancers, but breast.
An oncology nurse with Cancer Connect GH, Gloria Youngson, says though diagnosis receives such reactions from men, the cancers suffered by both sexes are the same, making it important for men to undergo screening as often as women.
Typically, the kind of breast cancers that men will get is what we call ductal carcinoma. Carcinoma means cancer. About 70% of women get that as well. Now, men, the other one, which is the lobules, that are actually the milk producing, men don't get much of it because mostly they don't produce milk as women do. But then what actually passes the milk out, which is the duct, is where they would normally get the breast cancer. For women as well, it's like 70% of them do get cancers in the ducts and then other parts as well. Men also get, similar to women, what we call Paget's disease, and then what we call the inflammatory kind of breast cancer as well. So same as women will get, men also get the same thing.
The psychological trauma of the diagnosis pushed Nana to take a decision that could have ended his life.
The first day that I was told I had cancer, I thought I was holding my death certificate. I came home, entered my bedroom. Nobody was in. I am somebody who don't cry. I don't cry at all. But that day, I wept. I cried. I was asking myself, why me? I stayed more than a year. Let's say more than a year before I went back to Kolebu. By then, the thing was eating me up.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yes.
It will.
Yes. It was eating me up. So I went back to Kolebu.
Are the signs for breast cancer in women different in men?
We have typically, or the most common one is a lump in the breast or like a hard nut in the breast. Then we have other changes as well. It could be skin changes on the breast, something like the way the orange peel looks like. You could have that. It could be a rash also. It could be darkening. or redness around the breast. Nipple discharge is also one of the signs and symptoms. You could also have nipple inversion as well. So mostly these things are things that is not the norm for the person. So either male or female is not normal.
With the perception of a disease reserved for women, I jumped onto the streets to find out if men had ever undergone breast screening.
These days, we look at the most important or the necessary health problems. That's what I mentioned. So for breast, I don't have any problem with my breast. I don't have breast at all.
No, you have.
I don't have any breast.
You have breast tissues like females, just that ours grow differently and then yours also grows differently. So it's important that you check your breast because do you know some men suffer from breast cancer?
Yes, I've heard, but I haven't seen.
I never did.
Why is that?
Because I believe it's women that have those kind of sickness, but men, we don't experience breast cancer. That's my understanding.
So you've not heard that 1% of men worldwide get breast cancer?
I know heard before, Mom. I know heard say men get breast cancer.
Have you ever screened your breast?
No.
Why is that?
Well, I think the education is so minimal. And number two, some of us, we are aware of it, that men also is at risk to getting the cancer. So I think it's only the time factor.
Risk factors for developing breast cancers include obesity, liver diseases, family history with the condition, aging, and exposure to estrogen. Gloria discounts the popular notion that developing cancer in the breast equates to death.
Treatment depends on what we call clinical staging. What is it that you felt? That's from the doctor's point of view. Has it moved anywhere else? So typically, breast cancer will move from the tissues of the breast through to what we call the lymph nodes under the arm, or what we call axillary lymph nodes. Has it moved there? Do you feel anything there? Or has it spread beyond that? And then that would determine the treatment. But the kinds of treatments we have is surgery, which is typically what we prefer, especially when they are within the stage where they can actually have surgery. So that actually takes the lump out, which is good.
Nana has undergone a first surgery, awaiting his second, hoping that it would end the nightmare of suffering from a disease widely known to be suffered by women. But how easy or otherwise has it been for Nana to go through this experience?
Are you exhausted with the whole process?
I must say yes. Because the tests, always you go for lab tests. As you called me, I went to Lancet. That's not an about. Because I have some tests to do before I go for a review. Easy.
Sure.
Okay. So you become exhausted. Always you need money. You need money. And the medicines to take too. Very expensive.
How do men deal psychologically with the diagnosis of breast cancer?
Men mostly don't believe that they would get breast cancer. If it's cancer, not in the breast, because they don't believe they actually have breasts. So they think that they are flat, but then they have a bit of breast tissue. And rightly so, because that awareness isn't there for them. So it's a shock. Mostly they don't believe it. How? I mean, I'm not female. And also the cultural aspects of where we find ourselves, where if a man is associated with anything female, we see that man is weak. And therefore, to have breast cancer, wow, it's a no-go area. So they suffer a lot more of those stigmas, and especially with the myths surrounding the disease.
The side effects of treating cancer often include the loss of hair, blackening of the fingers and toes, loss of appetite, among others. After detecting cancers, it is important to visit a certified health facility for treatment.